Welcome to Meet Me Where I Am, the podcast where we examine what we believe, how we think, and why that matters. Each week, we break down a common logical fallacy, explore how it shows up in real life, and use street epistemology to ask better questions, not to win debates, but to build understanding. Whether you're a curious skeptic, a lifelong learner, or someone who just wants to have better conversations, you're in the right place. Let's learn ways to have those difficult conversations and build better relationships. Thank you for listening to Meet Me Where I Am.
The logical fallacy that we're talking about today is appeal to authority.
What does that mean? I feel like I know what it means, but tell me.
So I want to give the, I guess it's the Latin called argumentum ad verecundium.
Oh, wow.
And then there's another one also known as ipsi dixis. And I know, like, what's ipsi dixit? I don't know. So it's basically when somebody insists or states that a claim is true just because a valid authority or an expert on the issue says it's true. And sometimes it could be an expert, not an expert on the specific issue.
Right.
But specifically without any other supporting evidence.
Right.
You know, that and that basically you should believe because of the person who made the claim.
Got you. Okay.
Like, so-and-so said this, so it must be true, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So, and remember that what a fallacy is a mistake or an error in reasoning. It's not the questioning of facts.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's a good call out.
Right.
It's not what they're doing is wrong or deceptive or whatever. They're just steering the conversation into a different area, right? When they commit logical fallacies, they're steering it into a different area of not understanding of like
right
explaining, right?
And it's just a mistake or an error, and it can be done intentionally, and it can also be done completely unintentionally.
Yeah,
for sure. So there was this scientist who his name is Linus Pauling. He's a Nobel Prize winner for chemistry twice.
Nice.
But at one point he said, vitamin C is the cure for the common cold. Oh. And so people said, I remember this when I was a kid. They started really touting this. I remember one of your babysitters, Miss Dot, she said that. You know?
Really?
Yeah, she did. And I was like, I don't know if that's actually true. So a lot of people just kind of accepted it. But the problem is that while he's a scientist and also a chemist, he's not a nutritionist, and I don't even know if he really had any research to back it up,
He kind of just believed it.
But because he was kind of pronounced in some field of science, people just kind of thought he knew what he was talking about.
Oh, how the power of celebrity,
Yeah. So after studies were done and they found that it wasn't the case, then it's like,
we must have just believed him at his word. Oh no. Shoot.
Right. So here's another example.
Yeah.
Vaccines do not cause autism, but my doctor, pediatrician, says that they do.
Oh.
So while your doctor can have medical knowledge, it doesn't mean they're an expert in vaccines or infectious disease or immunology or virology or epidemiology. Right?
Exactly. They don't have, doctorates in all of those individual things.
I mean, they've studied the human body and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But they don't have every answer. Right.
Yep.
So here's another example. This is from logicallyfallacious.com. Richard Dawkins is an evolutionary biologist who is perhaps first and foremost in his field, right? Evolutionary biology. And he says evolution is true, therefore it must be true. Right? So while this seems like it's not a fallacy, it might be because it's not immediately clear. Like, when Richard Dawkins talks about it, is he actually referring to fossils and evidence and stuff? Or, so it's a kind of like one of those that's kind of like it could be a fallacy or it might not be a fallacy.
Right.
Because he is
you
an
don't
expert.
know you don't know what his intent was saying it. We're just reading what it was. Yeah.
So this is one of those times when you might not know what to do. But,
sure. Yeah.
So now we're going to tell you how you can not fall for this fallacy, okay? In a couple of different ways. This one is more like in a scientific sense. So when you hear claims that are more scientific, what you want to do is you want to check the qualifications of the authority. Like check their bio, what's their level of expertise. Also consider potential biases. Read about them before you make an opinion about it.
Right.
And be aware of your own biases. And then what you want to do is you want to look for the consensus. So there's never going to be 100% agreement on everything. Even now, climate scientists, only 97% of them agree in climate change and that it's caused by man. Okay. So there's 3% outliers, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so you want to search for those consensus statements to see, if there is, well, like I said, not complete agreement, but a majority consensus.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
And probably more than a 50, you want something.
You want a sizable majority.
Consensus.
Yeah. Right.
So in a more general sense, and this is just like, in your everyday conversations, when, somebody says something like, does the authority have expertise in the relevant field? Okay. So, like some people will use that celebrity thing. Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger says blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah. That's because he was governor of California. Doesn't mean he's an expert on whether you should brush your teeth every day,
Yeah.
Is there agreement or consensus among the experts? Again, we've talked about that, where you might want to be a little bit more skeptical if there kind of is a widespread disagreement. Like, well, these 60% say that, but 40% say this. And do you have access to the direct evidence, like papers and research and studies and polls and that kind of thing? And that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you've dug through a lot of those.
I have.
In your
and
research.
Also because do you understand it? Because if you don't have the level of expertise to completely understand, I do not have a level of a complete understanding to understand all research regarding vaccines and COVID and all those kinds of things. So there have been times when I have read some of those papers and I understand a lot of it, but there are parts of it I just don't understand.
Yeah. It's all in medical speak. And
right.
Yeah.
It is this expert testimony being used just to dismiss evidence. Because if this is kind of challenging, even to me, is because, if there's evidence there that shows like, yeah, this thing is true, and somebody said, well, so-and-so says no, then they're just trying to dismiss that evidence.
Exactly.
So you have to be kind of cautious about that. Many times people who use this to dismiss evidence by inappropriately relying on the authority who may or may not be qualified. So one mistake that some people make with this fallacy is that it's always a mistake to use expert testimony. Like you can never refer to an expert's opinion about them. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, right,
like,
right.
That's one of the mistakes with this fallacy is that like it's always a mistake to use expert testimony.
Right.
Like you should never say that, but that's not true.
Of course not. Of course not. Yeah.
Right.
No, like if I'm raising my children and I don't want to do the cry it out method, but somebody else refers to a doctor or professional that said that the cry it out method was perfectly fine, then like we're in two different headspaces, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I get it.
Right. So you want to be careful because sometimes we do what we call yield or defer to authority in our everyday lives on matters that are of some or little important. Like it's a fairly reliable because it's a fairly reliable tool to do that, to defer and yield to authority in our everyday lives, because we don't have the time or the energy to research and get all those details on every single thing. For instance, things like, experts say you should have your oil in your vehicle changed every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. Like, depending upon your nature, the nature of your driving and the kind of vehicle that you have, and whether you're on paved roads or gravel roads or whatever, whether you have a 4x4 truck or a Prius, So that's one of those things where I'm like, you know what? That sounds good to me. It keeps the vehicle, in good shape. And, I'm not going to go deep dive into whether 3,000 to 5,000 miles is perfectly fine, accurate, or whether I could push it to 10. It's like, I'm okay with that. I don't have to go look that up. Like my dentist recommends I brush my teeth at least 2 times a day, for 2 minutes each time. Like, okay, well, I'm sure they've done studies on it too, but do I really need to go look it up? Do I really want to? Right?
Yeah.
My doctor says this kind of blood pressure medicine is what's good for me now. I may or may not say, let me go look that up. But sometimes I'll just say, okay, I'll take that, It really, but that's not a logical fallacy. Those are just things that, showing that, not everything,
Yeah, you don't have to dissect every decision that you're making and every single belief that you have, right? You can obviously still trust authority figures and, like you said, sometimes rely on expertise in a debate type scenario. However, there's a right and a wrong way. It's like you said, It's when dismissing evidence and like, that's the only thing you have to say. Like, oh, well, this really important person said that, that this is true.
Right.
Yeah, I got you.
So as a side note, I don't remember who said this, but I want to just put this one out there as an additional tool to help you not fall for this, is that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. So if somebody says, UFOs came to this earth in 1954, then there needs to be some extraordinary evidence to back it up. But
yeah.
Okay. So you want to be charitable. Again, we've talked about this. You want to be charitable. Am I being too quick to judge if someone else's motives in this argument? Like if somebody says one of these kinds, any of the fallacies, that they still may genuinely believe it.
Yeah.
So just saying that you're just wrong, or how could this person possibly be an authority on this? It might not be well received. So, you want to understand that people may believe without actually knowing why. You just want to be charitable when these kinds of things come up. You don't want to attack people over.
Right. Like we've said multiple times, we're not trying to break down their belief system, break down their house. We're just trying to open the door, the window, let them know, one small aspect of their belief hasn't been examined, that sort of thing. So yeah, don't attack. That's not going to help anything.
Right. So, and then another thing is that this isn't about facts either. We're talking about arguments per se, like debate and conversation. And when we say argument, we don't necessarily mean you're fighting.
Yeah, right.
You just have different viewpoints. Okay. It's like saying well, the Declaration of Independence was signed July 4th, 1776. Okay. That's just a fact.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're not doing that. Now, there's also one other aspect of the appeal to authority, which is appeal to a false authority, which is also called an appeal to a doubtful, dubious, improper, inappropriate, irrelevant, misplaced, or unqualified authority.
Oh, geez. That sounds familiar.
Now, so this is especially a time when one is not an expert in the field. So using the authority as evidence when the authority is not schooled in any of the claims of the argument, like a celebrity endorsing a diet or a health product, a non-expert opinion like a nurse on vaccines, or a law student on an in-depth legal matter. Like they have some knowledge of that field, but they're not in the the depths of it.
Yeah.
Like a psychologist on nutrition, it's not, like an actor who might actually be playing an expert or a historical figure, because that's happened. And also, or say, for instance, a politician citing a religious leader on a scientific issue. Like, Okay?
Right.
So that saying that just because an authority thinks something, it must therefore be true. So I think that we pretty much covered it.
I'd say so.
Appeal to authorities are not valid arguments, but nor is it reasonable to disregard the claims of experts who have demonstrated a depth of knowledge unless one has a similar level of understanding.
Yeah, like, so we're not experts. We, like, the people, not everybody, obviously everybody has opinions, but not everybody needs to be voicing those opinions in public forums or in debate type settings. You know, they shouldn't be doing that, because you should you should stay in your lane.
Staying in your
lane.
I really think that is something that people do. They don't stay in their lane.
Yeah.
Not just on the highway.
Yeah.
But
aren't we doing that a little bit right now? Is
maybe
this us going out of our lane?
Are we going out of our lane?
I don't know. I feel like this is our lane.
Are we claiming to be experts on something?
No, we've never said we were.
Oh, okay. So, are we appealing to our own authority?
I don't know.
I don't have any authority.
Shoot. Now I need to re-examine this whole podcast.
Oh my God.
The Supreme Court has made a couple of rulings regarding parents' rights within the last couple of weeks. So a couple weeks ago, the Republican-appointed majority went and said that the Tennessee law that allowed healthcare providers to administer people seeking gender affirming care from receiving medical attention or receiving those medical practices. Roberts wrote that it prohibits healthcare providers from administering puberty blockers and hormones to minors for certain medical uses, regardless of a minor's sex. That's all the ruling said, was that, it doesn't actually... Because that's, I guess, why it made it up to the Supreme Court. It was Tennessee.
The Tennessee Supreme Court said it is an infringement in a sexual way, which is against the Civil Rights Act, to not allow the doctors to prescribe whatever puberty blockers or whatever they want. It's an infringement on their personal rights.
Right. Which it also equates sex to gender.
Okay.
And... I mean, that's what I take it as.
Right. Because there are protected classes according to the civil rights. There are protected classes, and gender isn't, but sex is.
Yeah. And honestly, it's only going to discriminate against those individuals seeking gender affirming care. It's not saying that those things cannot be prescribed. It's saying that they can't be prescribed for gender affirming care. So basically...
So what they were saying is that, so you could give progesterone and estrogen to a girl, but not to a boy. And you could give testosterone to a boy, but not to a girl.
Yeah.
So that's based on sex, isn't it?
I mean...
isn't that based on sex?
Yes. So children who have gender dysphoria will not be able to get care that they need by a doctor. Like, the medical decision has been made for anyone with gender dysphoria. Well, what is gender dysphoria? Let's give the definition of it.
Okay.
A persistent unease with having the physical characteristics of one's gender, accompanied by strong identification with the opposite gender and a desire to live as or to become a member of the opposite gender. And then another definition, a profound and persistent unhappiness related to one's physical sex. Okay, so this seems like it's extraordinary, but it actually, based on statistics, it says that only 1.6% of all adults identify as transgender or non-binary.
Right.
And specifically, people ages 18 to 19,
Mhm.
or 18 to 29, sorry,
Mhm.
18 to 29, there's 5.1% of people. I want to focus on the 1.6 because there's something about the that it reminded me of the headline was intentionally deceptive because it said 5.1 of adults are transgender. It said in the headline 5% of adults identify as transgender, and that's not the truth. It was
only a section of
it's
them.
5% of 18 to 29. It's one. So, but that makes me wonder because like I have examples of transgender people in history, but it's a small percentage of people.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a small percentage of people. Why is there all of this focus on this small percentage of people? And like, and I wonder if it's actually a larger number.
So isn't it kind of like a little bit like maybe as an example, like left-handedness per se? Like, you know,
yeah, because they used to think that was a choice too, right?
So in the 1800s and up until about 1920, generally speaking, there was somewhere between 2 and 5% left-handed people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So mostly because, I don't know, people didn't like it. They thought it was of the devil. They would literally tie your left hand to the desk or, you know, or
hit it.
cane.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, to force you to be right-handed, to be like everyone else, to be normal, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, not everybody did, right? But so there was always some percentage, 2 to 5%, naturally speaking. Then around 1920, for some reason, and I don't know why, if there was somebody did some research or whatever, they said, you know what? It's okay. You can be left-handed. We're not going to hit you. We're not going to tie you up. Do you, boo. And then between 1920 and 1940, 20 years, so it took 20 years for everybody to get the message, the rate of left-handedness went slowly up, okay?
Yeah.
But it started leveling off around 1940 and has been pretty much level ever since, somewhere between 10 and 12%.
Yeah.
So guess what? Everybody didn't turn left-handed.
No.
No.
They didn't. They just stopped lying about it.
They just stopped lying. And also because, according to archaeologists, when they study, you know, bodies and stuff from, you know, 15, 20,000 years ago, they are pretty much like, according to, you know, bone structure and all that left-handedness was pretty much a 10% thing then too. Mm-hmm. So pretty much historically, it's been somewhere between 10 and 12% until people said it's evil and it's of the devil.
So it's also incredibly likely that in addition to the people 18 to 29 exploring their sexuality, they're also probably more honest. They're probably more honest with themselves. They're more, I mean, that generation of people, Gen Z or Gen Alpha, those, I don't know what it is.
I know, I get them all confused myself.
I know, but they're definitely more honest with themselves, I think, than other adults.
Well, and I think too, because, you know, and the funny thing, and I will give the Republicans credit for this, that it's always in the news. So we're talking about trans people all the time.
Because they're obsessed with it,
because it seems to be something that, you know,
I don't understand.
Relatively, and I'm not going to say all Republicans, but some Republicans. And
some are pretty loud about it,
so one of the reasons that those people who are younger may be able to be more honest about their feelings about it is because it has been more widely accepted and talked about a lot more.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember talking about trans a whole lot when I was a kid, and we called them transvestites.
Yeah.
That was the terminology back then. Right. But it's not like we had this conversation every day.
No.
You know? Or once a week. It was like once a year, maybe. You know? It's like
that actually brings up another point and another suggestive headline that I found on the anniversary of the right to gay marriage.
Mm-hmm.
The headline said, the U.S. has changed its mind about gay marriage on the anniversary.
Oh my God, we don't want it anymore?
No. So when I clicked the article, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, oh my God, what does that mean?
I thought everybody was more
And at the
accepting
very
of it.
beginning of the article, it says basically, less of the country cares about it being like you can marry whoever you
So
want.
basically, it was like everybody now is like, it's okay. You know, love is love.
Yeah, love is love. But like the headline was intentionally deceptive, and immediately you thought the worst thing, right? You thought the worst possible thing.
Now I'm kind of familiar with deceptive headlines, which is why a lot of times I will click into them just to see what exactly they're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I've already been duped by some of those. Or no, maybe not me, but some other people. It's like I recall, like back during COVID, there was this one time when there was some cruise ship that was out there, and it had been out there for like 3 weeks, and they finally let them come and dock, and they got all the people off. And then I think they still waited another 3 weeks before they even went to clean it up and everything. And then they had this article that came out about it, and of course, every news source ran it and had their own spin on it, right? And basically said that they found, they found COVID RNA in the rooms where people were sick,
3
and in the
weeks later.
hallways and on the
Right.
banister. And so everybody's like, "Oh my God,
They
that
thought
thing
the
lives!"
live, they thought the live virus lived on things
for
for
3 weeks. And so, of course, everybody's panicking because they're
We don't know what
we're
we don't
all
know.
going to get
We're
COVID.
all-
3 weeks? You mean somebody who had COVID, touched the handle at the grocery store 3 weeks ago, and I could still pick it up? No, they found remnants of the RNA. It was not the live virus.
It's like DNA, but viral.
The article says, like COVID RNA found in it, and nobody really clicked into the article.
Yeah.
And so I had all these people on Facebook, they were panicking. And I was like, no, if you read it, it was just RNA. It wasn't the live virus. It was not still contagious.
So I think all of our listeners, if you take anything away from this episode, it is read the article first.
Yeah.
Don't just read the headline and then use that headline and all of your interpretations of what that headline means in an argument. You know what I mean? Don't do that thing where I read an article that said this. No, you read the headline and you filled in all the blanks yourself.
Right. Because and that's what they do, and it's called this is what it is. It's called clickbait for a reason, because they want the headline to be so sensational that you click into it to read it. Yeah. But guess what?
People don't do it.
A lot of people don't do that. They just say, well, this headline said, and it's like, and I have done that. I have done that too, because I have said to people on Facebook, on some posts, where they are like, well, oh my gosh, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you didn't read the article.
You really didn't read it. And then they argue.
Because that is not what it said at all.
That is hysterical.
Yeah, it is. It happens. So, I don't know. I still think about the left-handed thing is that, scientists have actually done research into the left-handedness thing, and how they found that it's not a personal choice.
Yeah.
It's not from environmental factors, but rather it's something that is decided in the womb during fetal development. And that they've actually, for the left-handedness, found a variant in a gene that is responsible for making people 2.7 times more likely to be left-handed.
Oh, interesting.
Okay,
so it's basically in someone's DNA, whether they're going to be
this
left-handed.
Is the thing that, like, a lot of people say, and like I think they're still doing scientific research on it, is that having these feelings of gender dysphoria or feelings of gay or trans or asexual or the whole spectrum of everything. It's not a choice.
It's not a mental illness.
It's not a choice. Like, have you ever tried? Okay, like I'm heterosexual. I could try to be gay, but it's going to kind of be like me, who is a right-handed person. Have you ever tried writing with your left hand?
Right.
I have tried it. I thought it was kind of cool. My cousin had to do it in 8th grade because he broke his right wrist. So I'm like, well, let me see how hard this is, and it's hard. I could not I mean,
I mean,
it
you
was.
sound like most college girls, like, hello, let's just try this out. That
Yeah.
sounds like fun.
I know.
So,
right?
yeah,
So,
no, I get it.
Could
Yeah,
I
it's
try
not
to be gay? It'd be like me trying to be left-handed.
Right. In that sense, sure. Yeah. Then if you're making a choice to try it, then it's a choice and you're trying it. But that's not the same.
That's not the same
as it being in you
right.
and you feeling like your body doesn't match
right.
your heart.
But I think the more research that they do, they're going to find that
it's a larger percentage of people. I think it's going eventually
it's going to taper off just like the left-handed thing.
Exactly.
And it's not something that you can control. It's in there. It's in your brain. It's in your chemicals. It's in your hormones. It's in your body. You can't pick it.
But the main thing is I'm a mother of 3, and I love my children, and if any of my children had gender dysphoria, I am now not going to be able to get the medical attention that they may need to save their life.
Right.
Because that is what will happen.
Yeah.
That is what will happen.
Because this now isn't at the state of Tennessee level.
No.
It's at the federal level.
Uh-huh.
So even though we live in a blue state, that our governor has said that he will do things to protect trans people, his hands are tied.
I want to give 2 examples very, very quickly because I feel they're very important. So these are examples of transgender people in history. And these 2 just blew my mind. Okay, so in 1859, 16-year-old Irish girl Jenny Irene Hodgers left her home in the Irish fishing village of Cloggerhead. Jenny's destination was New York. For Jenny, she stepped off the boat in New York as Albert Cashier, a role she claimed in later life she adopted to find work. She actually joined the 95th Illinois Infantry of Abraham Lincoln's Union Army to fight in the American Civil War. Albert fought in approximately 40 battles. He was known as a brave soldier who would taunt the enemy into action and who escaped a Confederate soldier who captured him by knocking the man out and running back to camp.
Really?
After the war, Cashier continued to live and work as a man. However, an accident revealed his female identity. As a result, Cashier, a war veteran, had to fight to retain his army pension. He won his case, but a decline in his mental health to force him into a mental asylum where he died in 1915. The hospital forced Cashier to live as a woman.
Oh my God.
And the distressed former soldier tried to fashion his skirts into pants using safety pins.
Oh my God.
It was a cruel end to a courageous life. An actual war veteran, born female, later changed to male, fought in battles, and then as soon as it was discovered, no wonder they lied. Right? No wonder they lied. And then the reason I bring up this second example is because it is an example of transgender athletes.
Right. So it was a woman and became a man.
No.
Wait.
Was a 6'2" surgeon named Richard Raskin and became Renee Raskin.
Oh, okay. It's the other way.
Yes.
Okay.
So, Renee Richards. Sorry.
Okay.
Richard Raskin, Renee Richards.
So
Very
was
similar.
a man, became a woman, started playing tennis.
As a woman in 1976.
Okay, 76. Okay. Yes. Renee.
However, her birth sex was quickly outed, and the U.S. Open promptly tried to stop her from competing by introducing, get this, a chromosome screening procedure.
Oh, what is that?
Which essentially it's a blood test.
So it's looking for your XX or XY chromosome.
Exactly. So Richards sued, and the U.S. lawyer George Gowan attempted to argue that allowing Richards to play would be opening the floodgates to, quote, worldwide experiments, especially in the Iron Curtain countries, to produce athletic stars by means undreamed of a few years ago.
So,
Like,
so they'd be
by
like,
allowing
so the Russians would be
transgender-
like, hey,
Yeah.
man, we're going to turn you all into women, and then you're going to compete in the Olympics
yeah,
and
and
win
win
all
everything. Yeah.
The heck? Do they
Is that
think
is that really what people do?
people
Be-
would do
I mean,
that?
that's like a plot of a movie, maybe.
I mean,
but like not a.
it sounds like a
great-
James Bond film.
Probably.
No.
Maybe that's the next James
I don't
Bond
know.
movie.
Okay, so
Anyway,
did they win?
Richards won and was allowed to compete in the 1977 U.S. Open
and where
as
they
a
placed like
female.
110.
I don't even know. It's not even important because the judgment made Richards a trailblazer against transgender discrimination. And so I think that's a really great way to end it. You know, transgender people have always been here. They've always been here. They feel unsafe, and we
Right.
need to help them to feel safe. Don't you want, doesn't everybody deserve to feel safe?
Yeah.
And
I want to
accepted?
mention one thing. We were talking about the whole left-handed, right-handed thing, and as how scientists have shown that it's not really a choice, and that I think eventually most transgender people they're gonna be discovering that. But I'm also want to say that it's okay if it's a choice too.
It's none of our business.
It's none of our business.
It's none of anybody's
how
business.
does it affect me?
It doesn't
At all.
At all.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It's not my business. It's not my life. And so if it's a choice too, that's okay too.
Like and this is not a slippery slope situation. This is literally accepting people for who they are,
meeting them where they are.
And no, I'm not saying that that people should go out and marry their dogs, or I don't want to promote underage marriage.
Slippery slope is the logical fallacy.
I understand that. We're going to talk about that later.
Right.
But you know what I mean? Like that. It's not good enough of an excuse. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do understand what you're saying completely and totally.
Yeah. Thank you.
Happy Pride
Next
Month.
is
Happy
listener feedback. We wanted to make a few clarifications. We did look up the principle of charity,
You did?
and it does essentially say give them the benefit of the doubt. For sure. So that's we made an assumption and we were correct. Okay. And then I did get some listener feedback. My friend Kat in Plano, Texas said that she loves virtually hanging out with us, Mom.
Who? Katie?
Yes.
Katie.
Yeah, she loves to virtually.
Hi, Katie. How you doing?
And she said she would totally fangirl. I've known Katie since second grade, and we have been friends forever. And I've been to see her more recently too, but friends for a very long time. And we're both Dave Matthews Band fans, so that's special. What about you, Mom? Who did you hear from?
So I heard from a friend of mine. Her name is Lynn, and she said that first of all, she thinks it's really cool that she knows somebody personally who's doing a podcast, and that she listened to it. Let's see. I think this could very well help those to understand it's okay to question and keep an open mind to religion, race, and politics. And as a side note, she said that we're very well spoken and that the sound quality is good. And that was important to us too, because we had no idea how it was going to sound. Thanks for the feedback. That's very helpful.
Yeah, keep it coming. One last comment from our gal pal Josie over in Springfield, Illinois. She says, "You ladies sound great on the podcast and really cool that you are studying communication and how to bridge understanding between all of the viewpoints of our crazy world." So thank you, Josie. We love that feedback.
Who was it that said that you were meant to be on the radio?
Well, it goes on to say that. Josie also wrote, "You were made for the radio." So thank you, Josie. Love you.
Not exactly radio, but close enough.
Close enough. I mean, it's radio adjacent.
Yeah. we can edit.
So thanks to everybody. If you'd like to hear your name mentioned on the podcast, please
find us on social media at Meet Me Where I Am on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. You may also email us at meetmewhereiampod@gmail.com. If you leave a review, please don't be anonymous. We'd love to hear what you have to say so we can meet you where you are. Or if you know us personally and have our phone numbers, you can text us.
Yeah, we're not going to give our numbers out here, but maybe we'll get a burner phone.
We don't even want to put our faces out there yet, but I think we might be going that way.
We might get a YouTube video going soon. So stay tuned and stay tuned. Stay tuned. That's another radio thing. People can't tune in.
What is that? What was this? Like, same. Come next week, or like the same bat time, same bat channel, or I don't know. I can't remember the quote.
Yeah.
We still have. Anyway, also, if you have any concept or notion of an intro or a tagline for the end, we are open because we're.
I think I just had an apostrophe.
A what? A what?
I think it's from the movie Hook. I think I just had an apostrophe. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for meeting me where I am.
You're welcome.